Hello there and good morning to this, the WP Builds weekly WordPress news. This is number 130. It covers the WordPress news for the week commencing the 31st of August 2020 and it was published on Monday the 7th of September 2020. My name's Nathan Wrigley, and a slightly longer than usual bit of housekeeping at the beginning because I've got something I'd like to announce. But the first thing to say is, as always, head over to wpbuilds.com. Over there you'll find everything that we produce. There's lots of WordPress content. Podcasts come out on a Thursday. We've got this, the WordPress news, every Monday. The live version of the WordPress news is at 2 p.m. UK time. And you can find that in our Facebook group, wpbuilds.com/Facebook, or wpbuilds.com/live if you choose to go that way instead. This week I'll be joined by Paul Lacey, Anshin LaRue, and Leo Mindell, so that's 2 p.m. UK time. Also, 2 p.m. UK time on Tuesday at those same URLs, I'll be joined by Sabrina Zidane because we'll be talking about part 7 of our plugin Startup 0 to 10k installs. We've had a bit of a hiatus for summer and I actually had to cancel last week because of various things, so hopefully we'll be back on track this Tuesday, 2 p.m. wpbuilds.com/subscribe if you'd like to keep up to date with everything that we do. There are forms on that page. There are ways to find our Facebook group, Twitter channel, basically everything. We'd very much appreciate it if you shared WP Builds with the Twitter at WP Builds if you're on the Twitter, but any which way that you choose to share it would be most grateful. We do actually have a competition on at the moment, so that's at wpbuilds.com/win. It's 3 pro annual premium licenses for the translation plugin Weglot. So wpbuilds.com/win, you can find that. You've got to enter one of those viral contests. The more that you share it, the more chances you have of winning. But yeah, 3 pro licenses for Weglot for a year. The next thing to say is if you're looking for a deal this week on WordPress products, look no further than wpbuilds.com/deals. It's a page rammed full of WordPress deals. Creators of products, founders and so on have reached out to me and given me significant coupon codes. So it's searchable, filterable, wpbuilds.com/deals. You might be able to find something if you're in the market this week. And the final piece that I wanted to announce this week is that I've launched something with Anshin LaRue, who's on the news, as I said, on Monday, called the Page Builder Summit. I'm going to direct you to summit.camp. Yes, that is a URL. So https://summit.camp. And over there you'll be able to see what I consider to be a pretty amazing speaker list. If you're into using page builders, if you've got one that you particularly like, or if you're just curious about what they can do, that could be Beaver Builder, Elementor, Divi, Breezy, Oxygen, or Gutenberg. We've got loads of speakers from all over the WordPress page builder community, experts, shall we say, speaking about what it is that they do and how they're going to increase your speed of website building, possibly teach you some tricks along the way. It's a completely free event, so head over to that URL. Once more, it's summit.camp, and you can sign up for free. I'm really, really pleased with the way it's turning out. I honestly didn't expect the speaker list to be quite as epic as it is. I'm sure once you've had a look at it on that page, you will agree. Like I say, sign up. It should be good fun. I'm hoping that Anshin and I will be able to pull off a nice event, but your support would be greatly appreciated. The WP Builds weekly WordPress news was brought to you today by Kinsta. Are you tired of unreliable or slow hosting? If so, check out Kinsta, who takes managed WordPress hosting to the next level. Powered by the Google Cloud Platform, all their plans include PHP 7, SSH and 24/7 expert support. Try a demo for free. You'll get 60 days at kinsta.com. And by the aforementioned Page Builder Summit. Do you use a page builder to create your WordPress sites? Or perhaps you're curious about what they can do? Whether it's Elementor, Beaver Builder, Gutenberg, Breezy, Oxygen, or any of the other page builders, the Page Builder Summit will have something for you. It's running from the 5th to the 9th of October 2020, and you can check out the amazing speaker list and get your free place at https://summit.camp. Okay, sorry for the extended housekeeping, but I did want to tell you about the summit. I'm really quite chuffed about the way it's turned out, so forgive me for that intrusion. Let's get on with the news, shall we? Each week we divide our news up into different sections, and every week we start with WordPress Core, 2 pieces covering the exact same subject. The first one is over at make.wordpress.org. It's a piece entitled WordPress 5.5.1 Maintenance Release Schedule, and this is now old news because hopefully by now, if you've updated to 5.5, you're now on 5.5.1, and this post is simply highlighting the fact that this will be a short release schedule, meaning it will happen very quickly because of the nature of the problems that arose with the 5.5 release. And the second URL relating to the exact same subject is Sarah Gooding writing on WP Tavern, WordPress 5.5.1 released with Backfill for deprecated JavaScript globals. And so there were 34 bug fixes, 4 enhancements, and 5 fixes specifically for the block editor. 19 legacy JavaScript localization objects were removed in favor of new functions and utilities found in the IL8N package introduced in WordPress 5.0. It seems that a lot of themes and popular plugins were impacted, and the following list is what Sarah Gooding mentions. Astra, Storefront, Hestia were some popular themes, but also some popular plugins which included ACF, Advanced Custom Fields, Site Origins Widget Bundle, AMP for WP, WooCommerce Services, Oceans Extra, and RankMath SEO. Combined, it was an awful lot of people who were affected, and so hopefully this fix has sorted all of that out. 3 weeks after WordPress 5.5 was released, the Enable jQuery Migrate Helper plugin has received 100,000 plus installs. This is something that hopefully we can remove in time. Anyway, this is, needless to say, something that had to be rushed through because of the problems that people were experiencing. And I'm basically just saying, if you're on WordPress 5.5, why not just immediately update them to 5.5.1 to mitigate the problems found thus far? I failed to mention that the sitemaps XML pagination incorrectly has been fixed as well. That's at the bottom of Sarah Gooding's article. The next section is the community section, and I've got quite a few pieces for you today. I don't quite know how many times I can bang this gong, but I'm going to put it in one more time anyway. I have launched with Anshin LaRue the Page Builder Summit. If you head over to summit.camp, which yes is a URL, you can find a sign-up form. It's a completely free event. There will obviously be some additional options to pay for content, but we'll come to that in due course. But I would urge you to just go and look at the list of speakers. I feel, have covered the bases really well. We've got speakers from all over the WordPress page building community. Many of the names that you'll recognize, I'm sure. Some of them may be new to you, but we've got a lot of the page builders covered. It's an event entirely focused on page builders. So if you're curious about tips and tricks, what other page builders can do, how you can implement quicker processes in your WordPress page builder website building business, then why not sign up completely for free and attend live? It's the 5th to the 9th of October. I shall not mention this again until the ads at the end. Actually, that last sentence was a complete lie because it occurs to me that the next piece has a tangential relationship. This is lovely. This is WP Year in Review, or should I say WordPress Year in Review. You can find it at wpyearinreview.com. And this is Joe Casabona, who is actually in the Page Builder Summit doing a talk. He is hoping to put out a project called the Year in Review. And it's going to be really, really interesting. Now, the idea is it will be a project with all sorts of different threads, and it will help you understand what has happened during the previous year in WordPress. Now, Joe, always innovative, always creating content. It's astonishing to me. I follow his stuff quite closely, and he puts out major things really frequently, and this is another one. And this page is him kind of trying to get some help pulling this whole project off. Now, hopefully, if he does pull it off, you'll have tons of really cool WordPress content about the whole of the previous year. But in order to make it worthwhile, he's kind of crowdfunding it, and that's what this page is for. So you can show your support for $2. You can gain early access to the whole thing for $5, and you can get an actual physical book for $19. So just a lovely little project, and at the moment he's managed to raise $1,123, which is fabulous. Hopefully with this we can bump that up a little bit more. But anyway, the point is it's there. It's going to be a very useful resource, and so go check out the URL. Link in the show notes. With great regularity these days, we seem to be talking about one WordPress company or company buying up another WordPress company, and we have something about that this time around. Two pieces. One of them is from the sandhillsdev.com website, a piece entitled A Long Bright Future for Restrict Content Pro with iThemes and Liquid Web, and the other one is from the iThemes website, simply called Restrict Content Pro is joining the iThemes family. And this is to say that Pippin over at Sandhills Development has decided to sell Restrict Content Pro. I know that a lot of you are using this product, and so there will be great interest about what's going to happen in the future and how it's going to be maintained. But the Pippin piece really talks about the fact that go back about a year, he had no intention of selling this, but he's always built his business based upon the fact that one of three things can happen to a business. And one of them is that it fades away and dies. One is that you just sort of keep it going. And the other one is that you sell it off and somebody else takes it over. And so he's always built his businesses with that in mind. So, for example, having separate accounts for things like payments and so on. And he's decided, after an email in October 2019 from Liquid Web, that he's going to sell it to them. He put a great deal of thought into this, but he feels that it's time to let it go. Now, the questions around this will be many. I'm sure people will be worried about what the future is and why iThemes are to be a trusted custodian of this. And for that, then, I would direct you to the other link from iThemes and why they believe they're a good fit, and also what does it mean in terms of how it's going to be going forward. As you might expect, they're hoping that there'll be very little change and that everything will kind of carry on as normal. But go and have a look at those two pieces. I would definitely urge you to do that if you've been using Restrict Content Pro. Now, there's a heavy caveat on the next one because I can't say I've watched any of the tutorials or any of the videos involved in this, but I just came across it and I just thought it was such a lovely initiative, which on the face of it, as far as I can see, appears to be completely free. It's over at fullsiteediting.com, and I've actually linked to a particular lesson called Introduction to Block Patterns, just because that's something that's of interest to me at the moment. But this is a whole suite of maybe, 10, 15 videos, something like that, explaining how the Gutenberg editor can be used, hopefully, to enable us all in the future to have full control over our WordPress websites in the block editor. Like I say, I've linked to the block patterns one. I do like the delivery. It's very calm and easy to follow, but it's just what appears to be a wonderful resource. As I said, I've only watched this one video, so maybe if you've gone through it and found it to be useful, you could leave a comment in the post or perhaps in the Facebook group. That would be helpful, but certainly worth checking out if you're into Gutenberg and want to see what the future looks like. This next one's quirky and a lot of fun. It is over on WP Tavern, Sarah Gooding writing, WordCamp Austin opens call for musicians. So WordCamp Austin, which is an online event, is taking place in 2020, but Austin, being a city famed for its live music, has decided that they're going to sprinkle some music in between the sessions, which I just think is absolutely great. So you can apply for this. If you succeed, you can either try to perform your songs live. I don't quite know if I would dare to do that were I in a band in case of the technical gremlins came out, or you can pre-record it and send it over. You've got a chance of performing 2 to 5 songs, and it will, as I said, be between sessions. It's just such a nice idea, and in this case it just sets this event apart and just makes it just that little bit more interesting, and certainly a bit more of a reason to hang on in between sessions. Well done, WordCamp Austin. A few weeks ago on the WordPress podcast, we had Sebastian on from wordproof.io. Now, Wordproof is a blockchain technology to enable you to prove categorically that things that you published were in fact published in the exact form in which you are claiming they are published. So this might be really useful. So, for example, for legal documentation published on your WordPress website. Anyway, they won an EU award for €1 million to advance this technology, and it has ramifications for SEO in the future, allegedly. I'm not quite sure how that pans out, but because of that, the guys over at Yoast have decided to take a stake in WordProof, and so I've got an article entitled Founders Yoast SEO Take a Stake in WordProof to Push Timestamp Relevance for SEO Results. You can find a link in the show notes, and if this kind of stuff really does appeal to you, I feel in the future the way that we constantly seem to be bombarded in the news with fake news, fake this, deep fake this and that maybe something like this technology is going to be incredibly important in the future. And whether it's wordproof running that or something else in the future, I don't know. But this kind of proof, unequivocal proof, seems really interesting. And obviously Yoast, from an SEO point of view, want to jump on board. So a nice amalgamation. Very well done, Sebastian. Let's talk about WPMU Dev's hosting just for a moment or two. Very briefly, I'm going to say that they have a hosting platform. And their bronze account, which is their sort of starter version, they've increased the storage by 50%. They've got an article over at premium.wpmudev.org entitled Bronze Hosting Now with 50% More SSD Storage. And they say, we have dramatically increased the hosting storage available for our Bronze starter plan. Previously, it was 10 gigabytes, and now it's a healthy 25 gigabytes. That to me feels like 150% more storage rather than 50%, but I could be wrong. Maybe my maths is misguided there. Anyway, the point is, if you're on WPMU Dev storage, you have suddenly gained a chunk more data for free. And if you're not, then maybe this is something you want to look at. Now, I suspect the next one will be a bit of an edge case right now, but in the future this may be something that blows up. It's a piece on WP Tavern, Justin Tadlock writing, WordPress plugin authors should avoid confusing users when naming blocks. Now, this story comes from the fact that Genesis had bought Atomic Blocks, and they had AB, aka Atomic Blocks, at the beginning of their buttons and various other blocks. So it said AB button, AB accordion, and so on. Well, they decided that they would remove the AB from the beginning of this because it just seemed to be extraneous, something that wasn't really used. So they did this, but they didn't put it in their public changelog. They merely added some information in the GitHub code commits. Now, the problem occurred later when somebody who's named in the article, Marcus Tibisar, started using the AB button block, but he assumed it was the Gutenberg default button. So he used it liberally. What's worse is he uninstalled Atomic Blocks, didn't feel he needed to use it. And then the problem, as you can imagine, occurred. He'd been spreading buttons liberally throughout his site, assuming they were core Gutenberg buttons, but they weren't. And so he had a bit of a cleanup job. Now, this raises the question, in the future, if we have collisions like this, where particular blocks have exactly the same name, how on earth are we going to know what's what? One possible solution is to enforce all block authors to perhaps prefix their blocks with something. I kind of feel it might be a nice idea to group all blocks in a kind of mandatory way underneath some kind of heading. So, for example, Atomic Blocks, although deprecated, everything for Atomic Blocks would only exist under an Atomic Block heading. But maybe just putting AB or Stack for stackable or Queebly for Cubely blocks and so on might be a good idea. Anyway, we'll see. There is an instance of a prototype of a block management area which gives you some sort of indication of whether you've used a particular block. It shows whether there is an instance count. So in this case, it would have shown the number of times the AB button had been deployed, but that's not quite out yet. Anyway, just be careful out there. If you're using blocks liberally and you're uninstalling blocks and so on and so forth, you might need to be mindful of exactly what's happening where, and maybe we need rules about this in the future. Speaking of blocks, the next section is plugins, themes and blocks, and just some quick updates. I'm going to do this very quickly. Oxygen, the page builder, has released version 3.5, and you can find Elijah Mills's video. He's always fabulous at creating videos, and oh goodness, I'm going to do it again. He's also one of the people in the Page Builder Summit, so apologies for mentioning that once more. He has put together this lovely video which basically sets out what's new in Oxygen 3.5. To summarize, copy 2 clear styles for selectors, custom attributes for elements, 15 bug fixes and 3 tweaks, and you can find a very nicely put together article explaining all about that. Link in the show notes. If you are a user of Eric Ham's Cobalt Apps products, you'll be pleased to know that there are some updates. Genesis DevKit Extender Pro and Thema Pro updates is the title of the article from Eric. The highlights are Extender Pro and Thema Pro now support new popular WordPress theme frameworks, and Genesis DevKit now offers a new tablet view in addition to the already available mobile and desktop views. Also, both Genesis DevKit and Thema Pro now include the latest Genesis theme, sample theme, version 3.3.1. 5.5.1. There's a whole heap more over on the changelog, things that he's added, things that he's changed, and bugs that he's squashed. So well done, Eric. Anybody using those products, go and check it out. Okay, WooCommerce for a few minutes over on Bob WP. New WooCommerce developer resources portal is live, and Bob is simply highlighting the fact that there is the new WooCommerce developer resources section, and he's got a great big screenshot which just shows that everything has basically been organized and curated better to help developers find exactly what they need. There are shortcuts, and it gives you even tighter accessibility to the resources, so go and check it out. It's just a demonstration of how it's laid out, and if you're a WooCommerce dev, probably quite important to know. Any Jetpack users out there will be pleased to know there's an iteration mentioned by Justin on WP Tavern. Jetpack 8.9 adds donation block, newsletter form, and social previews. So exactly that. We have a new social network preview for posts. We have a new sign-up newsletter form, which looks rather nice, and a very simple donations block as well. So if you're a Jetpack user, the article will probably take you a couple of minutes to read, and it just announces all of the new releases. There's also support for the AMP plugin, which has actually been a collaboration over 6 months between Google and Automatic directly. So that would hope, well, one would hope that would work extremely well. We mentioned Yoast just a few minutes ago in terms of wordproof, but I'm just going to mention that they've released 14.9, an update to their plugin, which includes Polish word forms, Hebrew keyphrase recognition as well. Anybody using Yoast SEO will probably have gone to their website. There is a link in the show notes outlining exactly how these features work and exactly why you might want to use them. The last one in the plugins, themes and blocks section is just a video over on YouTube. It's the guys who are behind Ninja Tables and Fluent Forms. They've got a new product which, as far as I can see, is completely free. It's called Ninja Charts, and this video is about 2 minutes long, and it explains how you can do, for example, get data from tables and push them into beautiful charts. You can imagine every conceivable type of chart, so bar charts and pie charts and all manner of donuts and so on and so forth, beautifully styled. Just looks really nice, and if you are using their products already, there's obviously going to be some synchronicity of getting the data from one to the other. Very nice indeed. Nice little update, and if you need charts, this might be a good place to start, especially as it appears to be free. WPBuilds.com/deals is a good place to look for deals, and I've listed a few in the show notes. Because time is running short, I won't mention them, but just to say, if you are looking for some plugins and deals, go and have a look in the show notes, but then go to WPBuilds.com/deals to find out more. Now, friends of the podcast, Andre Gagnon and Kyle Van Duzen, they've got a new product and they're doing a launch giveaway. It's called DocIt WP, and it's a way that you can kind of add notes into your WordPress install. It's actually incredibly useful. You might want to go and look at it, but what I'm linking to specifically is their launch giveaway. They're giving away 3 winners, will be chosen at random the day before DocIt WP's official launch and notified via email to the address provided above. So basically, put your name and your email in, and you've got a chance of winning a free annual license. Right, we're on the home straight now. The last few things are security, and we always do a light touch on this, but this is WordFence. 700,000 WordPress users affected by 0-day vulnerability in the File Manager plugin. This was discovered on the 1st of September 2020. A patch was released on the 1st of September 2020 as well, but obviously that's a huge spread of plugins. 700,000 is an awful lot of people, so if that name rings a bell, go and get yourself checked out very, very quickly. WP Builds, the amazingly self-promotional bit. We did a podcast this week with Agustin Pro from Weglot. As I said at the top of the show, we're doing a giveaway with them, 3 licenses, wpbuilds.com/win. But on the podcast this week, he explains how Weglot works, why they started building it, which platforms it works with, and it's not just WordPress, it works with a surprisingly large amount of other platforms. But if you have any need to translate a WordPress website, then Weglot certainly should be in the mix of plugins or solutions that you're looking for. And listening to this podcast, about 45 minutes, would be a good introductory 101 as to why that plugin is there and how it works. Okay, the jobs section, I've got 3 jobs for you this week. GoWP need a growth manager. It says GoWP is looking for an experienced digital agency professional to join our growing team. In this role, you'll be meaningfully able to contribute to our company, culture and growth. And then it goes on more and more about that. But if you fancy the job of growing GoWP, they're looking for somebody full-time. Another one available is LearnDash. LearnDash are looking for a customer support specialist. It says, do you enjoy the satisfaction of helping someone solve a problem? Are you the go-to person for tech support for family and friends? Well, if so, maybe you could help LearnDash as a customer support agent. And the last one is a content lead. This is ScaleMath. And obviously, in this job, you'll be looking at creating content to promote their products and services. So that's ScaleMath. So 3 jobs for you this week. And the final piece today is the not WordPress, but useful anyway, subject matter. And it is to say that, well, happy birthday, Linux. The thing that we certainly couldn't live without in the WordPress community has turned 29. It says 29 years ago, on August the 25th, 1991, 21-year-old Finnish student Linus Torvalds made his now famous announcement on the comp.os.minix newsgroup, saying that he was working on a free operating system for 386, 486 AT clones, just as a hobby. Well, we know where that hobby went to. It ended up with things like WordPress that we're now able to have for free. So hat tip to Linus, I should say. Is it Linus or Linus? I think it's probably Linus. Anyway, thank you. Deep gratitude for all of the things that have been done with Linux over the years. Righty-ho, that's all I've got for you this week. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please share it. I would be most grateful if you did. Share it in any which way you like, but if you use Twitter, @WPBuilds is most helpful. The WP Builds weekly WordPress news was brought to you by Kinsta. Kinsta takes managed WordPress hosting to the next level. Powered by the Google Cloud Platform, your site is secured like Fort Knox and runs on speed obsessive architecture. You get access to the latest software and developer tools such as PHP 7, SSH and staging environments. And the best part, their expert team of WordPress engineers, they're available 24/7 if you need help. Try a demo and get 60 days free at kinsta.com. And the Page Builder Summit. Do you use a page builder to create your WordPress sites? Or perhaps you're curious about what they can do? Whether it's Elementor, Beaver Builder, Gutenberg, Breezy, Oxygen, or any of the other page builders, the Page Builder Summit will have something for you. It's running from October the 5th to October the 9th, and you can check out the amazing speaker list and get your free place at https://summit.camp. Okie dokie, join us at 2 p.m. UK time for the live version of this. As I said at the top of the show, I'm going to be joined by Paul Lacey, Anshan LaRue and Leo Mindell. 2 p.m. UK time, same addresses, wpbuilds.com/live or wpbuilds.com/Facebook. You can join me and Sabrina Zidane, I should say, talking about plugin installs and trying to get interest in our plugins. Well, that's all I've got for you this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye for now.